Yeah, I thought that was, to me, college baseball at its finest, because you had two quality opponents going at it and almost mirroring each other in terms of personnel and how the game was played. It was, two quality left-handed pitchers going at it and making pitches and tough pitches. You had, some solo home runs that were big in the ball game, and the game really could have gone either way. And I always hate saying, but wasn't that a heck of a game on the winning side of it? Because I've been on plenty of the other side. But that to me, I thought was just a tremendous college baseball game, and good players on both sides stepped up and made plays and did what they needed to do. We were fortunate tonight with the win.
Joey, how would you assess your performance tonight?
I thought I pitched pretty well. The 2 runs I scored, really, I think I had I had a few bad pitches all game, but they definitely executed on them, on pitches that I missed on. So, overall, I thought I did well. I pitched well enough to give my team a chance to win, and that's all I can do.
Sam, it's kind of an old tradition in sports, but they say that in championship environments, the elite players, the great players step up. And, you guys, the first 2 nights have gotten that. Every time they needed you tonight, including the last defensive play of the game, you made it. And the home run, the 2-out RBIs. Just talk about the significance, knowing you're playing Stanford, an elite power, what that meant to you to perform at that level in this kind of environment.
Postseason play, as a player, coming up in key situations, that's what kind of what you live for as a player. So it's definitely, it's kind of proud of myself, more proud of myself to come up for my team, come up big for my team. And, that's what makes me a good player, coming up clutch. And I'm going to do whatever I can in my power to help the team out. And postseason play couldn't come at a better time.
You guys have probably asked this at different points through the season, but were there moments tonight where you felt like you were better in this environment for what you went through last year? You didn't really play a really tight game like this in the regional last year, but could you feel, for any of you three, just kind of the experience of last year helping tonight?
I think last year, it was everyone's first year playing in a regional, obviously, and playing in that kind of crowd and environment. But, every single game, I think, speak on behalf of the whole team, we play every game the same, whether it's a playoff game or, whatever it is, we're going to come out the same. And, maybe it did help a little bit, but overall, I think overall we just, played the same game that we're used to playing.
Yes, Will, can you just take me through the at-bat in the 8th, basically what were you just trying to do there, and how just big was it to get one through at that point?
I knew he was a big curveball guy, and so I was kind of just trying to fight that pitch off, and eventually I got a fastball I could handle and just kind of put a good swing on it and ripped it up the middle.
Joey, you gave up one in the first. It seemed like you kind of settled down after that. Is that kind of how you saw that too, or is there something that was different in the first inning, something you changed maybe after that first inning, where you kind of settled down, got in a groove?
Yeah, definitely. The first inning, and I don't know why it's been like that all year, but it seems like I kind of settled down after the first few innings. But I think I did settle down. My changeup, I was working on that the whole game. So I wish I had my slider a little bit better and locating my fastball inside a little bit better, but. I stuck with my changeup pretty much all game for my out pitch and just went from there.
Sam, everyone's going to talk about your offense, but I know you take a lot of pride in your defense. Can you talk about that last play or the last out of the game?
Once again, last out of the game, you just got to be expecting the ball. You can't get caught off guard. Most importantly, I wasn't going to let it get by me. I was just trying to get a glove on it and keep it in the infield, keep the run from scoring. But fortunate to make a good play on it.
I guess, Joey, how did you feel like you handled the middle of their order specifically? It seemed like you kind of had a different approach to them when you got through, Blandino and Slater and those guys each time. You feel like you got better against them every time? What were you just trying to do with them to begin with?
Well, first of all, for the top of the order, I mean, I know they have a strong 1 through 4 hitters. So I was trying to be maybe too fine with them, maybe too careful, and kind of giving the middle lineup or lower half of the lineup better pitches to hit. And I mean, they started hitting them towards the end of the game, so I kind of had to switch that around and pitch backwards. And I mean, I think their whole lineup was pretty solid. They had a good approach all game, but yeah, their middle part of the lineup was definitely. I mean, I think they had great approaches against me. So.
Yeah, hey, Sam. Obviously, Jake Kelser finished the game. From a hitter standpoint, and you've kind of, I'm sure, batted against him. How tough is he to hit, especially a guy that size throwing like he does? How much has he improved, and how tough is he to deal with?
Well, I was lucky enough to face him when he didn't have that pitch. And I'll just say I'm glad he's on my team.
Tracy, it's a championship formula, but again tonight you score with 2 outs 3 times, I believe. Your best players deliver, and you get a championship-like effort from your starting pitcher. When you get those 3 elements in any baseball game, you got to smile and say, that's what it's all about, right? Can you just talk about how important those 3 facets were to what you did tonight?
Well, they're big, and actually as I was driving over here in my car just thinking about the game, a lot of things go through your mind, and the one thing that I kind of settled in on was, you know what, me personally, go enjoy the moment, trust your players, because if you're good enough, it's going to happen. And I think, clearly tonight, Joey was good enough, got solid starting pitching, exactly like you said. Sam Travis, who's one of the best players in the country, stepped up big and got huge hits. Jake Kelser comes in and does what he's supposed to do, closing down. So it is fun to see when your guys are doing what they're supposed to do against a quality opponent and a very, very good baseball team like Stanford. But it's the trust, and that's what I love about this group, is that they trust each other and the coaches trust them, and I would assume and hope that they trust the coaches. But it's just good players doing what they do.
You talk about the decision to pull Joey in the 8th inning and what the thinking was behind that, and also how important was it that he went deep into that game in terms of just setting up your pitching for the rest of the tournament?
I'll go just a brief answer on the second question. It's very important, to save your pen, because, we're taking nothing for granted. We're not assuming that we're going to roll through this thing tomorrow. We're going to expect a tough battle between whomever it is. And so the more pitching you can save, I like that. And now I've talked so long, I forgot the first part of your question. Well, when you got a 6'7" right-hander down there that's been doing what he's been doing the latter half of the season, it made the decision pretty easy. Joey was still throwing well. I mean, I thought that he was. Maybe if we had an extended lead, but we wanted to give them a little bit different look in the middle of the lineup with some of the guys that could hurt you with one swing.
Skip, just how big was it just to get this game? I mean, especially when you get past Saturday night and you don't have to play the Sunday afternoon game, just how critical was it to get this win?
Well, that's kind of what I said. It's like, it keeps you off the turf for 2 games. Or at least you hope that it's 2 games if you're fortunate enough to win that first one. So it just it kind of keeps your pitching fresh, as he said. So that was very, very important.
Obviously, Kelser's been great for you all season long, but in a big spot, over 4,000 people looking at him. How did you, coming into the game, think he would do mentally with the whole big spot thing?
Anybody that spends their mornings at 5 a.m. staring at the bottom of the pool, which is what he did prior to coming here, has some mental toughness and some things mentally that I could never do, because I wouldn't do that. But he just seems to amaze me with the growth of not just what he's doing physically, but how he's come along mentally. And you look at what we were doing early in the season, he was not the go-to option for us, but it's indicative of him getting the ball lately is indicative of how he's just progressed through the season. So, and that comes from the physical standpoint, but also having enough confidence to put him in that situation, and there was no hesitation on my part or Coach Higlin's part.
I guess two questions. I probably know the answer to the first one, but do you know what you're going to do, irrespective of opponent, with the pitching, with the starting pitcher tomorrow?
Morris.
And then I guess the second one with Kelzer, it felt like, I know he's got a big fastball, but it felt like he was really pitching off of, I guess, his secondary pitches tonight. I mean, how important is it for him to maybe not even need that fastball anymore to set that stuff up, that he can go first pitch, second pitch with those?
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit after the game. I mean, it's a power breaking ball. It just, the situations that we were in, it's like you never want to sit back in a tight ball game and second guess your second best pitch or your second best scenario. And, and that was Kyle calling what he thought was the best opportunity to get him out. Jake throwing what he thought was his best opportunity to get him out. So we'll live with that. But yeah, that's the one thing from a coaching perspective as he progresses and matures is to be able to flash some more fastball too, a little bit more of that fastball, because it's a good one.
Any status update on Brad Hartong? He'd be available tomorrow?
We'll see. I honestly don't know. Yeah, he banged into that wall, so we'll check him out.
Defensively, Skip, 18 innings, 1 error, but O'Connor makes a nice play in center. Rodriguez has some nice plays. Travis, I mean, just talking about your defense.
Yeah, it's funny. As I was sitting here, I'm looking at the guys to my right, and they were all very deserving of being here. But for me, I love the way Casey Rodriguez, played defensively. It was huge tonight, the athleticism that he showed at second base. But anytime you get to this point in the season, to me, it's about the defense. And much was made about our last year and having a little bit of an Achilles heel, but because of the Rodriguez, because Ramos is playing very well right now, I thought that helped us get out of some innings. It's not like, as I'm looking at the stat sheet, that Joey or Jake overpowered guys with a bunch of strikeouts. They were putting balls in play, and they were putting a lot of balls in play hard, but we made the plays defensively and took the outs that they gave us. But I love the way we played defense tonight.
Skip, early on in the game, Sam Travis had that single to right. Can you just talk about how big that was just early on for you guys?
And I'm assuming that's the one where he fouled that one, the one where he fouled. That, to me, and I said it to him after the end of the inning, was probably one of my favorite at-bats of his, certainly the year, but one that I can remember because that was a crucial time of the game. We're still trying to extend. Their pitcher was making pitches. Sam was fouling them off, and he finally, got a base hit. And that's why I think he's one of the top hitters in the country, and that was a great example of him showing that.
Last question.
Speaking of big at-bats, just how crucial was Will Nolden's slate to get you a insurance run going?
That's the same thing. I mean, if you think you always talk about quality at bats, and if you think of just keeping the bat alive and keeping it alive and finally getting a pitch you can handle, it's those two at bats that I remember as I was reflecting on that game that I thought were momentum gainers for us, momentum breakers for them, because if he gets to strike out or induces an out in that scenario, it's they get a lead off double in the ninth, and it's a whole different ball game. So that was huge.